What's up, Nikki?
Hey, Robbie, how are you?
Good. Just interested to know how the first few days of practice have gone. I know you got a chance to work with the girls one-on-one, and work out with them in the summer and all that, but getting a chance to implement your system and see them in a 5-on-5 setting and things like that. What did you see from them the first week?
Well, first of all, I was really excited, to be able to finally get the first official practice. I mean, we've been doing some stuff, but for it to be officially the first practice, it was really exciting. I think there were some jitters, nerves. It was very fast-paced. It was almost like a track meet. We had a lot of turnovers, but that's part of it. When you're playing fast, the first 2 days, we wanted to really get them used to the pace of play, of practice. And I know a couple of them was just like, we've never gone that fast. And for me, that's how we want to play. And now we can talk about time and score and things like that, but just really push tempo. I looked up and it was like practice was over. That's how quick practice went from drill to drill to drill to drill. But it was fun. It was fun. It was intense. It was a lot of up-tempo, a lot of decision-based things. We know that we're going to be in transition probably 63% of the time, so we worked a lot with transition, offense, defense, all of those things.
Up next, we will go to Graham Hayes.
Hi, Nikki. Thanks for doing this.
Okay.
I'm curious, there's so many kind of unique wrinkles and challenges involved in this season, obviously, but with the NCAA last week extending eligibility for all Winners Worth athletes for an additional year. Just wondering how you start thinking about that as a coach, and kind of when you start having conversations with players about that, or what kind of conversations those would be.
Well, I think everything is so uncertain. Even though we're supposed to start up on the 25th, who knows if we're gonna, be able to finish this season. I think it was really good, that the NCAA came out with that. So now the players are not worried about anything other than let's just concentrate on winning each day and just being able to tackle it that way without worrying if there is, the season's going to be canceled. But for me, we have not had those discussions yet, just because we just started practice. So this is, day 3 for us. But we will have those conversations when it's time. But right now we're just really, focusing on us and just trying to get better and implementing our system.
Just a quick reminder, real fast, for those that just joined, if you have a question, please put your name in the chat. I'll call on you. Up next, we're going to go to John Sokoloff.
Hey, Nikki. I'm the new sports director at WCBI.
Okay.
Just wanted to introduce myself and say welcome. And, obviously I know it's been a transition. How much does kind of like the experience and the returning players and the Carters, the Jacksons, and those type of players, have they kind of made things easier for your transition here?
Well, definitely. I think you have the Maya Taylors, who's, she's been here the longest. We do have some experience. What we don't have is experience in postseason play, a lot of that. But, as far as, the freshmen have a year underneath their belt, they kind of know, what it's like to practice 6 days a week, 2 hours, and having to play at that intensity, to be focused. But yeah, relying heavily on our vets, to talk with the young ones. But everybody is new. They're new to my system. They're new to this pace. They're new to this, maybe not this intensity, but everything is new. So, we've grown together over the course of 8 weeks, but just really relying on them to come in and be ready to go. Talking, energy, effort, competitiveness, those things right now are really, top priority for us.
Up next, we'll go to Ben Portnoy.
Hey, Nikki, how's it going?
Hey.
Just in terms of this year, I know it's a little bit different situation than Old Dominion. Obviously, there you're rebuilding from the ground up. Here, you're walking into a situation with a top 10 type team. What makes that different? Why is that different? And how does that, if at all, maybe change your approach or anything that goes into sort of starting out with this group?
It's not different in how it changed. How I coach, I coach to win, every game, I want to be playing on the last day. For us, it is every single day matters. It's good that you have, 2 all SEC players, returning. It's good that you have talent. It's good that you have talent that can compete, in this league. So they know what it's like. They know the grind that it's like. I know what it's like being a former player in this league and having a coach in this league. So it's not like it's nothing new. The only thing that's new is getting to know our staff, getting to, educate them on our culture on and off the floor and how we want to play. And now getting them to educate each other. So that's been the newness. But again, 8 weeks, we're continuing to build that trust. I talked to them first day, we have to be disciplined in our bubble. We have to be disciplined in our bond. We got to be disciplined in our basketball. So those 3 things we have to continue to stay disciplined in. But that bond is something that you always are working at, that trust.
Up next, we'll go to Carolyn Peck.
Hi, Nikki. I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Being the head coach of Mississippi State, and in inheriting the talent that you have. I watched your press conference from last week, and you talked about Rakia. She needed to be an offensive threat when she got off the bus, and talking about her scoring instead of inside out, outside in. How has she embraced kind of that change in mentality?
She's embracing it. I think, for her, when you look at her stats, she didn't take a whole lot of threes, in the SEC, and she was still pretty good. But that's another level. It's going to open things up a little bit more for her. Her being a 3-point threat, but being an efficient 3-point threat is going to be key for us. Not just her, but everybody. So we shoot a lot of threes and keys. That's how we want to play. We want to play, very, very fast. But she's embracing it. The other area that she's embracing is the fact that she's going to handle the ball more for us. So got to get her turnovers down. When she's got the ball, she's got to be able to understand the play and understand when she's being doubled. And being able to make the right play. So we've worked a lot on her shooting. We're working a lot on her footwork. Her footwork is going to allow her to be under control, to still be fast, but also have the space to create for herself, but find open teammates. So that is the goal for her, is to be ready to be a threat off the bus, knocking down shots, and continue to make her teammates better.
And if I could ask one more question, in the time of COVID, and you look at football, a lot of the announcers have talked about the SEC defense. Football's defense has been behind.
Yeah.
Do you see that that's going to be or can have an effect in women's basketball, and expect the offense to be ahead of the defense?
Well, definitely. I'm a defensive-minded coach. I mean, that's just, how I am. And I can definitely see that. I mean, a lot of us, when we had individuals, we couldn't really have contact, so we did a lot of shooting. We did a lot of breakdown footwork. Our starts and our stops are really key for us in our offense, so we really broke that down this summer. But now just getting them acclimated to defense. I had to kind of do both because I'm new and because that's just how I am. So we'll see where we are, but for us, it is tempo. It is pace of play. I want to dictate offensively, and I definitely want to dictate how we play defensively.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Is there an individual, as you mentioned, how Madison Hayes and Katarian might have been ahead of your other girls because they got there so early? On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Charlotte who got there after everyone else. What have you seen from her the last few weeks, just getting acclimated and in practice this past week too? How has she kind of adjusted to life in the SEC so far?
Well, she's getting better. It's a strength and conditioning opponent. There's rules, her being international. So she's really only been with us about 2 weeks because she had to go through a 4-week, protocol and things like that. But I like her. I like her spirit. I think she's all about getting better and getting stronger every day. She has to go up, against, Jessica and Yamaya and Sydney. And it's good for her. It's good for her physically and mentally. But the biggest thing is getting her stronger. So the weight room is where she's got to, really lock in because that's an area that she's got to, be very good in, and that's that strength. So, but skill-wise, very talented young lady, very talented young lady.
Up next, we'll go back to Ben.
Nikki, you mentioned wanted to be in transition about 63% of the time. Is that something that your teams at Old Dominion look for? Is that kind of your magic number, or is that kind of just what you expect out of this system?
No, so what I meant to say was, or what I'm saying is 63% of the time defensively, I mean, shots are missed, we're going to be in transition. So we want to be very good in transition on defense and on offense. We want to be very dangerous in transition. So what we're working is multiple people handling this ball for us. And that requires a lot of decision making. And we're going through that, but just having a clear understanding of how we want to score on a make versus a miss and flowing into that. And then defensively, really understanding how to get back, match up, and really get, really keep this ball on one side of the floor.
Up next, we'll go to Chrissy Thomas-Scotty.
Hi, Nikki.
Hey.
You've got two of the better low post players, in Carter and Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've heard it. You want to play fast. How do you implement them into your system, and how have they adjusted so far?
They're adjusting. I mean, Jessica Carter, she can run the floor like a deer. She's really athletic. Sydney is a person that we're able to have her handle the ball for us and getting her comfortable with that to where she's not always outletting it to our point guard, but allowing her to have the freedom to be able to come up, and make a decision. So I think that's going to work very well for us. But if she's not comfortable, she can always give it to the guard, and then we can flow from there. But I like, both of them. I also like, our big kid, Yamaya. Now, she's not going to handle the ball for us, but, we're just trying to get them to understand how they have to pull defense and run. The biggest thing is getting them to run the floor and run very, very hard.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll go to Tyler Morka.
Hey, Nikki, obviously this offseason was really crazy and probably even crazier for someone trying to come into a new program, implement some of your things. What's something that you were able to do that you look back on and you said, that's something I really wanted to do before the season started, and we've accomplished that? And then what's another thing that you'd still like to see get done here in the next month before the season
I think
starts?
the biggest thing for me and my staff was to build trust. We needed to have a connection when we came back together in August. Again, very talented team. A lot of stuff was, new staff, missing the old. It was a lot. So we had to build trust. So we did a lot of things from a team building standpoint that helped bridge that gap. And that was very key for us. So when everybody came together, it wasn't as awkward. There was a sense of they knew who we were, we knew who they were. So I was really, thankful, for that. As far as something, moving forward, I like where we are. I like where we are, in terms of just our chemistry. We're just continuing, to build that, as we play. Scrimmages and things like that is those things. We got to build that chemistry. But, with COVID, and I don't know everybody else, but you just want to make sure you have everybody, that's ready to go and just get them in shape. You're not trying to, force the action a little bit. You want to make sure your kids are in shape and they're strong, because it was almost like starting over. So I would have liked to have, scrimmaged a little bit more, early on, but we were not able to do that.
Up next, we'll go back to Carolyn.
Nikki, a lot of coaches this year are talking about playing fast and at a high pace. Why do you think that is the best way to attack in the SEC league?
Well, the way the game is being played right now, you can't touch. The offense has the advantage, and I think when you know that and you see the you see the NCAA referee video, you can't. So you have the advantage. You just want to be able to play fast and definitely play under control. But I think for us, being on the run is going to give us a very good chance to be successful, just because of what we have and how our kids like to operate in space. So that's the strength of ours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we'll go to Andrea Carter.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
My first question, you talked in your first, when you first got the job, about all the experiences that you've had playing under Pat, WNBA, USA, 9 years with Dawn. What experiences do you find yourself going back to kind of help coach this team and connect to this team?
It's the fundamentals. You can't waver on that. You have to hone in those fundamental habits, that lead to big things. So it's the little things. And I talked to our, valuing the little things. It is very, very big, because if you value those little things, then those little things can become something special. And so, identifying what that is. So that's what I take away, and I think, this Pat was really big about the little things. All the great coaches that I've been around, those are some non-negotiables. So that has been something that I think our kids have really bought into off the floor as well as, on the floor. So on the floor, just really, harping in on them, every day, whether it's defensively and how we play and, offensively and certain things we need, being in our spots and stuff like that.
And you talked about some of those fundamentals. You mentioned stopping speed as far as offense goes, and that's something you've been working on. Who have you seen, especially from the guard position, that's kind of getting that down, stopping speed and being able to create and be under control?
Well, I think, I like Madison. Her footwork, it's new for her because she's coming from high school, so, understanding the footwork, all this was new for her. So I think she's done a really good job of, really understanding it. I think, one of my grad transfer, Katerion, she's done a good job. Maya, Mingo. So we have some people, Azaria, they've done a good job of doing it. You got, Rakia and Aaliyah, they're so talented, so it's just that split decision that you got to make really quick to understand, how to use, your footwork. And I do believe great players have coordinated feet. So we have to coordinate our feet, especially when we're playing fast.
And then just last one for me, you mentioned threes being an emphasis. This is a team that made right around 4 threes a game last year. So that's something that's new. Is there anything else that might be new that we're not used to seeing from Mississippi State, but that we can expect to see?
I think you're going to see multiple people handling the ball, starting our offense. Our goal is to make threes, threes and keys. It's going to be key. Our ability to get to the free throw line. We have to put pressure, on people, and then, rebound in the basketball. I do think we have the athleticism to pursue boards. Those are areas that, pace of play with anybody, our ability to get to the free throw line, and our ability to rebound the ball.
Thanks, Coach.
Up next, let's go back to Christy.
Nikki, every head coach kind of sits down in the preseason and kind of maps out when and what they want to put in for their team in terms of practice planning. How has that changed for you this year, both with COVID and obviously stepping into a new program?
I think it was hard. It was really hard just because, you had rules. When kids came in, they were on this protocol, and then 4 weeks they couldn't do anything for 4 weeks, and then you could not have contact. I think every school had different rules, so it was hard. You can't really put a whole lot in when you don't have your team, together. So, but it was really good that we were able to have, some time with our players. And the majority of our time was in August, but it was limited to one-on-one. And, eventually we got to 3 people, and eventually we got to, 5 people. But it was just really good to have that, and just being able to see their faces. That was really good. And just kind of build those, connections, not so much, through Zoom. So that was really good. I was really thankful that we were able to get some one-on-one time with them, because now they started hearing our voices, started seeing how we coach, how we teach, the intensity and passion, and how we go about things.
Up next, let's go back to Graham.
Next, Nikki, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge up in Connecticut. Do you know how much of a true bubble environment that's going to be, or what that's going to look like from your perspective?
Well, I think, right now, our goal is to play in that. Nothing is set in stone, so we'll know something here. But obviously there's protocols and things like that we're going to have to go through. The SEC has protocol. Obviously the Hall of Fame has protocol. So, once we've been given the go, we'll be ready to go. But that is the goal right now, is to play in it. We have not officially, I know they're going to make an announcement, but, once those protocols are met, then we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Still have time for one or two more. If you have a question, put your name in the chat. All right, we'll go back to Andrea.
Coach, you talked a little bit about Rakia Jackson, how you want her to shoot more. Sydney Cooks, how she can bring the ball up the floor. Is there anyone else, as far as their role or their skill set, that you're expanding or that we can expect different or more from?
Well, I think when you look at a young lady like Aaliyah Matharu, didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but can score the ball. She can flat out score the ball. Just really getting her to lock in defensively and stay disciplined on that aspect. With a player like that, just, she can score it, but also getting her to understand, to play with other people, because it's a really good thing. It's going to open up things for her. And it's going to make her a really good basketball player, in this league. So just slowing her down, letting the game come to her, letting her see the game at different speeds is really key. And without taking away her natural instincts, which is to score. So.
Thanks.
We will end things with Tyler.
Yeah, Nikki, kind of going off of that, what we've seen from Maya in her first, 2 or 3 years here is primarily just being a facilitator. She hasn't really been looking to score, but she did a whole lot of scoring in high school. How do you think her role will change in that regard, and will you rely on her to take shots and score if you need to?
Well, definitely. Maya's got to be able to hit shots. She's got to be able to hit her shots when she has them. She's got to be able to continue to run our team. But the good thing about her, she can get up the floor now. I think we've worked a lot with her on just building her confidence. And, and that's been, she's been confident, but now she's got to understand, hey, when it's your time to score, you got to score. And she's so used to passing the ball. And sometimes when you overpass, that leads to a turnover. And we don't want that. So take your shot. We have confidence in you to take your shot. So just building her up and just letting her just, reap the benefits of her hard work. But she has a great understanding of, when, who, and where. She does. But she also has an understanding that she's going to have to knock down shots and make plays for us.
We're going to do one more question. We're going to go back to Christy.
Nikki, obviously, I'm assuming you watched a lot of film since you weren't able to work with the players until August. Who surprised you the most based on their improvement or how they've evolved, either physically or in their game, when you actually got them on the court in August?
Everybody. I think it's, it's different because we were in a COVID. So when you're off for 5 months and you're asking these kids to be home and figure out, how to get in the gym and work with the trainer, that was really hard. But Maya came back in really, really good shape. But she's just one person that, her dad trains her and she's just been around basketball. So it was really no surprise. I thought our freshmen, they came in early, Madison and then my grad transfer. So they kind of got, acclimated pretty quickly to the strength and conditioning piece. But everybody else just kind of filtered in and they had to get acclimated to things. So we were not in shape, but we were nowhere near where we needed to be. So, and I would probably say everybody was in that situation. So we had to really be careful in how we put things in. Because, as a coach, you're trying to get them used to who you are and your intensity. But I had to kind of, shorten things, whether it was 20 minutes here, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, all of those things. So when we were out there, it was pretty intense, but I also had to be very smart with them until they were able to get to a place of strength and conditioning to be able to perform at the level that I needed them to perform. So to answer your question, probably Maya, she came back in she was ready to go. She had been working, pretty much all summer.